Hello, everyone. How is everyone doing? Welcome to the second Case Status University webinar. Thanks for showing up, everyone. My name is Angelina Moltari. I am a customer success manager here at Case Status. My role is to focus on helping firms get the most value out of Case Status, and I help them strategize how to achieve any goals that they wish to achieve. We also have Kyle Leary here on the webinar. Kyle's not only a senior implementation manager, but also the director of training. He's a true pro at helping firms onboard and adopt the platform through education. So as y'all know, today's webinar is going to be focusing on Net Promoter Score. Throughout the webinar, we will be using NPS for short. So just keep that in mind. Net Promoter Score, NPS, interchangeable. We are going to get into all things NPS. So exactly what it is, why it's important, how to use NPS data to your advantage, and how to use it to help grow your firm. Before we jump in, I just have a few housekeeping items I wanted to go over super quickly. So there's going to be a few things that we show here today that you may not have access to. Just keep that in mind. Feel free to reach out to either support@casestatus.com or your account admin. Please refrain from using the question box for those situations. This webinar is recorded, so you will receive a link in your email after the recording, so keep a lookout for that. And then please do use the question box for any questions you may have about what we are showing. We'll definitely try to get to them all, but if we don't get to yours, we'll be sure to follow up in an email. There's also going to be a couple polls that pop up, so keep an eye out for those, and you'll be able to react with hands and face emojis as well. But without further ado, Kyle, I know you've been working on something very special that you want to preview. I'm going to go ahead and show the class.
Thanks, everybody, and thank you, Angelina. Appreciate being here today with you all. Looking forward to getting into our conversation about Net Promoter Score. As we're thinking about putting this webinar together, though, I was reminded that as part of our big build out of Case Status University, we've actually created some video content on this topic. We wanted to lead off by sharing that as a little sneak preview of coming attractions for Case Status University. We'll have a lot more to share on Case Status University in the coming weeks and months. But for now, we did have a little video that we wanted to share. I have to cover my ears whenever this video goes out. I don't really like hearing the sound of my own voice. So I'm going to hit the button to start this video off and then duck out of sight. So hang on.
Your firm advocates for your clients and their cases every day. As you build strong relationships with your clients, there is an opportunity for them to become advocates for you as well. Understanding their sentiment towards the firm yields better relationships, happier clients, and can help grow the firm. In this video, we'll cover a key measurement of client satisfaction called the Net Promoter Score, which Case Status uses to understand the sentiment of your clients. We'll cover how to leverage these scores to ensure your clients are happy, to grow your firm's visibility through Google reviews, and what to do if you end up with a negative score. Let's get started. In the Case Status app, upon each stage change, the client is asked the Net Promoter Score question. On a scale of 1 to 10, how likely are you to recommend the firm to a friend or colleague? This question is specifically written not just to see if your client is satisfied with the firm, but whether they are satisfied enough to talk about you with their friends or colleagues. We will take advantage of this distinction later on with Case Status. Clients who score a 9 or a 10 are considered promoters, or people who would speak highly of the firm. Clients who score a 7 or 8 are considered neutral, happy but not happy enough to mention you. Clients who are 6 or below are considered detractors. They may choose to talk about the firm, but would do so in a negative way. The final NPS score is the percentage of promoters minus the percentage of detractors, which is different than averaging all of the scores together. Reviewing the scores of an individual case lets you know whether a client is happy with your firm or not. With this score in mind, you can target the right clients with the right follow-up. For high scores, Case Status recommends using the Net Promoter Score automation to request the client leave a Google review. This automation can be set to target promoter clients only and has proven to help boost the number of positive Google reviews for the firm. This boosts your visibility online and can help the firm gain new clients in the long run. Firm admins can check out our lesson on the Google review automation to learn more. It is also valuable to review detractor scores as well. Knowing that a client may speak negatively about the firm can impact the firm's reputation in your community. Following up on negative survey results shows your clients a willingness to overcome obstacles, which for many clients can begin the process of changing their sentiment to a more positive one. Believe it or not, clients who were formerly detractors in earlier stages of a case, but who become promoters later on, are more likely to leave positive reviews on Google. To review Net Promoter Score results for the whole firm, check to see if you have access to Firm Insights. We'll cover these dashboards in another lesson. Thanks for watching.
Okay.
Amazing. A lot of good information in there. I think before we start to break it down, definitely want to throw out a quick poll. How are you reacting to NPS? You can vote here. We have yes, I respond to the messages that come in through Case Status. Yes, I look at the numbers, but maybe I don't actually respond to anything. Nope, I don't pay attention at all. What is NPS? Feel free to vote for us there.
Team, we appreciate hearing your feedback. We know that this can be a pretty interesting topic, one that we're certainly going to dedicate our entire session on today. Would you like to get a sentiment, though, first of where you're all at with NPS so that we can help ensure that we're just focusing in the right way? Thanks, everybody, for sharing your feedback. We appreciate it.
Yeah. And of course, so we can start kind of breaking down exactly everything that happened in that video. We can start with, of course, the importance of NPS just in general. NPS allows you to really have a pulse check on your clients during each stage of the case. It's giving you insight on the sentiment of your clients so you know exactly who might need a little extra care, a little extra attention, or who might be ready to get a Google review request or even be asked for a referral. So I'll give it over to you, Kyle. You want to finish that deep dive?
Sure. Yeah. No, and what Angelina is saying here, I think of as just a really important part of the relationship that you're keeping with your clients. You're representing them in their case, you're advocating for them through what can be a very difficult time in their lives. You are repping your clients through this process. This is an opportunity for clients to begin to represent you through a bit of a different forum, but it's an opportunity for your clients to speak highly of you, to activate their networks, their friends, their family, coworkers, colleagues, everybody in their lives saying, hey, I had a great experience here. If you're ever in need of this firm, you might want to consider them. So this is what we consider that virtuous cycle, is that opportunity for a client to represent you. Now, one of the best ways that a client can represent you in a kind of broader way, and we saw this certainly in the video that we just shared, is through Google. I actually looked this up this morning. Google processes 105,000 searches every second of every day, the entire year. There are more Google searches in a year than there are people on the planet Earth. It's a pretty impactful place. It's that first place, certainly in this moment in 2025, where people go, I need to find something. I need to look for a law firm. I need to figure out how to cook dinner. I need to do all these things I need to do. Where do you go first? You go to Google. You go search for that information. So as a law firm looking to make its mark in your community, being able to be found in Google is a really important part of a business. It can be just as important as the a stereotypical billboard or other advertisement that you might be running. There's another benefit to Google here too, team. Google, to improve where you stand, it's a free service. You don't have to pay to jump ahead of the line with Google, especially when you're searching through business results. Your business appears higher and it is more prominently displayed if you have more Google reviews and if you have more positive Google reviews. So this is where Net Promoter Score comes back into place. Because Net Promoter Score certainly is asking for your client's sentiment, but it's asking for more than that too. It's asking for the client's willingness to give that recommendation. It's not just saying, hey, are you satisfied with the service that we're rendering? It's asking, are you satisfied enough to talk about us, and to talk about us in a positive way? So I want to make sure that we're all clear on that part here, team. Having that sentiment is important, but taking that next step to finding out whether somebody's interested in leaving a review, there's a lot of value in asking the question in that specific way. There's also a lot of specificity in how the number is calculated. And again, this can be brought back to just how you talk to your friends and family about the experiences that you have with a business or a service. If somebody's happy, they'll be happy to let you know. If somebody's not happy, they'll let you know that too. And so that's where calculating the Net Promoter Score metric becomes really important. And it's not the typical way that you might think about averaging a score together. It's not just that 1 through 10 and averaged up. What we look at in that score, that on a scale of 1 to 10 here, we look for people who are 9s and 10s and think of them as promoters, people who are happy to talk about your firm or any product or service with a friend, with a colleague, to say good things about you and to grow your stature in that community. On the flip side, 6s and belows are considered detractors in the language of Net Promoter Score. Those are people who they'll talk about you, but they're going to say, oh man, they didn't get back to me, or I didn't get the outcome that I wanted. Those are people who are still going to talk about you and still maybe not say the right thing. Certainly the thing that you want to make sure that those Google reviews continue to grow. Think about even as you're looking at your own Google results, looking at star ratings for a favorite restaurant or Amazon ratings for something that you're trying to buy. You're looking at all the people who might be happy with something. In the back of your mind, there's still that little piece of you that thinks, man, that one review that was a little bit more negative, I should take a closer look at that. Having positive reviews is impactful, and having negative reviews is impactful, unfortunately, even above and beyond what that positive review can be. So we have promoters and detractors, and the Net Promoter Score number is simply that percentage of the people who give you a 9 or a 10, and we subtract out the people who give you a 6 or below. What that means is that your Net Promoter Score actually could be, if it's certainly not great, in the negatives. I wanted to share this infographic that Bain & Company came up with. They're actually the ones who came up with Net Promoter Score a number of years ago. They go out and they measure various industries for where Net Promoter Score is for those industries. And what you can see here is that there are some industries that have really great responses. People who drive Lexuses apparently really love to talk about how awesome Lexus is to their friends and colleagues. They have one of the best Net Promoter Scores here on the list. On the flip side, you look at some of these industries that have negative Net Promoter Score. You have maybe 5% of people giving you 9s and 10s, and 30% giving you 6 or below. Knocks it into the negative. You think about cable television or your utility company and some of the wonderful experiences that you might have, as I roll my eyes into the back of my head. These are certainly areas where these industries can improve upon. And it's where case status is so impactful in measuring that Net Promoter Score to help understand where you're at with your own client satisfaction, your own client's willingness to share that satisfaction with others in their community. Angelina, I just wanted to check in here. I know we're throwing quite a bit out at this point. Are there any questions coming in from?
No questions yet.
Great. So team, again, don't forget, this is a live webinar. We're happy to take your questions. Down at the bottom of the screen here, there should be a Q&A box where you can certainly type in a question. I know that there's a lot of good data coming out at you here, and we'll have a lot more to share over the next couple of minutes. Don't hesitate. Use that Q&A box and let us know what questions you have. There's also that react button down there too. So maybe just give me a thumbs up that everything's going all right. I'm happy to hear from you that way as well. Okay, so, you know, even some parties. Okay, that's looking good. I'm digging that. Great. Awesome.
So we actually just got a question.
Hey, great.
So the scores are for more than just Lexus, or is the 81 the plus and then the 35 negative for Lexus only?
Yeah, I know that can be a pretty busy looking infographic. I think the intent here that Bain and Company had showing this was that in the automobile industry, that net promoter score could be as high as 81, and then the leader of the pack is Lexus. And then the lower end of what they measured was a 35. So a car company that perhaps has a couple more lemons out there than maybe they're happy with. Maybe the customers of that car company aren't as happy as those that are in Lexus. On the flip side, something like a video here, Netflix leading the pack with the 32, but there might be a laggard out there that's in the negatives. We certainly don't want to see that.
Yeah. And then we have one other question. We'll definitely touch on this a little bit more, but we can start.
Yeah.
How do we convert or introduce the client's review on case status to a Google review?
Oh, I love that question. I think that might be my segue as we get into the next part of our session here. So we are going to answer that question. And we're also going to pitch a little bit of actually our very first customer webinar, where we covered a lot of the specifics of how we'll turn those surveys into Google reviews. But it does start with simply case status being the platform that asks your client the Net Promoter Score question. This is an example of what the client sees in the case status mobile app. When a case switches from one stage into another, the client will open up the app and see the Net Promoter Score question. And they have to answer it. They have to give that 1 through 10 answer, and then they'll be able to see their case again. It's a great way for you to guarantee that you get that information, that current client sentiment at every stage change. We'll talk a little bit more later on about why that's so valuable, but that will be kind of the beginning of this process, case status asking the question and asking it when those big milestones of a case are reached. What happens then? Well, you have that score in place, and case status has the opportunity to automate the response to that survey. In our first webinar, we actually spent some time showing the team how to create those very automations. So we'll make sure here, team, that you get the link back to that webinar. It is pre-recorded, but we do go through each of the steps to create a Net Promoter Score automation response message. And so many of our firms will use that opportunity for the 9s and 10s to ask for that Google review. And so we certainly would promote that as well here. If you have those high scores, clients who are sharing their willingness to give you that good score out online, take advantage of it and boost those Google reviews as a result.
Kyle, since you're talking about that,
Yeah.
you have a question that I think kind of intertwines perfectly. You're saying that we're responding to those 9s and 10s and asking for Google reviews. How do we feel in your experience? Is it always good to respond to every score, no matter the number? Or are we kind of picking and choosing what we're responding to?
That's another great question, Angelina. And so there's a couple things that we can do for all clients, no matter what their response is. I always like to say thank you when somebody gives you that score, regardless of the score. So even automating a response, maybe it's a neutral response, a 7 or 8, simply responding with a, hey, thank you for sharing that information. We greatly appreciate it. that can be a nice thing to do to help show your clients that you're listening, that you're responding to what they have to say. For negative scores, those detractor scores, I think it's just as important to have a process to respond to those scores as it would be to ask for a Google review. These are clients who aren't necessarily happy. They might not be easy conversations to have, but by bringing up that you acknowledge that they might not be happy and pledging to follow up, there's an opportunity there to understand what is causing somebody to be a detractor, that somebody's not happy. Maybe they're not willing to write that nice Google review now, but if you can take the time and learn what their issue might be, and maybe even overcome that later on in the process, maybe they are going to be more liable to give you that 9 or 10, and then you can ask for that review. So we would 100% recommend the opportunity is to respond to all survey responses with starting out those automations, but having a process to reach out to clients as well.
Perfect.
Awesome. No, that took the words right out of my mouth. That was kind of the end part here of that tactical response to each one of these surveys. Case status can help scale as you get more and more clients making those asks by automatically asking based off the survey score. That's a great way to do that. Now, we had brought up in our video a little bit more on actionable insights. And in Case Status University, we'll certainly have content showing you what those insights look like. Our goal with these videos was to have some nice, easy 3-4 minute long videos. We know that your time is precious. We don't want to overwhelm you with 30-minute explainers of everything. That's what this webinar is all about, I suppose. So let's take a moment here in this session and show you a little bit more about the data that you collect and how that data can be impactful to your law firm. So I'm going to move over here to what we call our advanced analytics dashboard. Now, I want to be clear, advanced analytics is something that is part of a case status package. That package may or may not be part of the firm's subscription to case status. If you do have any questions about that, let us know. We want to show you the advanced analytics package today so that we can just dive in a little bit more in depth with how we think about looking at these net promoter score numbers. And it starts with just seeing, hey, what is that net promoter score? And so for our demo firm here, it looks like our current net promoter score is a 62. It's down a couple points from where we started. That's kind of one of the first things we like to do with net promoter score is compare scores from an earlier point in time. You certainly would like to see your net promoter score to be maintained or perhaps grow a little bit. So seeing that the score is ticked down a little bit in this case, well, okay, maybe there's some work to be done. Maybe we can figure out why that score is ticking down a bit. We also have a couple of different benchmarks that you can look at. As a legal industry benchmark, again, we saw what some of those scores were from Bain & Company. Case status, we found a metric that goes down to 32 for that net promoter score. So if I were a firm looking at my 62, I would say that, wow, we're doing a really good job of beating the mark that is set by our competing firms. We're doing better than the average law firm when it comes to net promoter score. But if you're really looking to reach for the stars here, the case status benchmark is a 72. That incorporates all of the firms and all of the scores that we get back. Now, for somebody like me who, again, net promoter score can be a pretty complicated metric to advertise here. If you're just looking for that average score of those 1s through 10s, we do show that average score. So if you're more interested in the percentage, there's that 8.8 here. As we continue to scroll down, we'll find other ways to represent this data for you. What I see here is that over 75% of my clients are giving me a 9 or a 10. That means that over 75% of my clients, I might be able to ask for a Google review and have them leave a positive score as a result. 1 out of every 8 or so is showing as a detractor, so we've got some work to do there. But again here, team, it's showing that we do have a lot of folks who are very pleased with the results here of our very fake demo site. As we continue scrolling through here, a couple of other info points that can be helpful as the firm is working to improve Net Promoter Score. This is a client satisfaction leaderboard by staff. And so what I can see here is that Aaron Brockovich is currently taking up the win with a 9.2 score with almost 70 cases assigned. That's looking great. Sam Ballinger in second place, although he's only dealing with 6 cases. Sam's a colleague of ours, so I'll go give him a hard time after this webinar. What we like to see here, team, is an opportunity to celebrate when folks are driving to that high satisfaction, driving clients to be so happy that they're going to speak about you to their networks. Aaron here is doing a great job of that. And even as we look here at 13th place with Jock Joyce, an 8.4 is still a pretty reasonable number. We always like to be cautious about using this information when making employee performance decisions. Just to be clear, this is not the only metric that you should ever be looking at when it comes to making those kinds of decisions. It can be a tool in your toolbox, if you will, but this is just another great way to see, hey, Aaron, what are you doing that differentiates the client experience? What could we learn from you in order to bring everybody up to the score that you're getting? There's an opportunity to learn from your team when you see these sorts of leaderboards. And continuing to scroll through, if you want to get down to the nitty-gritty of your Net Promoter Score results, here they are, team. You can see every individual score, the client, the status of the case, and a few other metrics. And if you want to download this from Case Status, you can do that by coming up here to the top right corner, clicking More Options, and then downloading the data. It'll be a spreadsheet where you can certainly run a whole lot more analysis if you're like me and are interested in doing just that. Yeah, there's some red here. I've sorted this list by the score, but all we have to do is scroll down just a little bit to get to all the rest of our greens. There's certainly a lot more green here than there is red. So I know it started with the bad news here, at least in this view, but as we continue to scroll through, it's looking like we're doing okay. Angelina, are we seeing any questions here about any of these insights or anything else that we've covered so far?
Nope, no more questions at the moment. We're looking good.
All right, great. I want to show a few other things that I think are pretty important to looking at Net Promoter Score. This is one of my personal favorite insights that is in our advanced analytics dashboard. This shows who is being converted from being a detractor, somebody who's not happy, into somebody who is happy, who shares that they're in a spot and they're happy to review you in Google or somewhere else. This is the idea of finding those folks where you've recovered from an issue. Maybe they're not happy at first. Maybe they misheard a communication, or maybe they're just having trouble with their case to get started. Maybe they're just woke up on the wrong side of the bed and are having a bad day. There could be any number of reasons why somebody is a detractor in that moment. But later on, and maybe this is something that you've done to help them through this, they've become a happier client as a result. They're giving you that 9 or a 10. We can measure that because we're asking the question on a fairly regular basis. These are the best Google reviews you'll get, are the folks who go from a detractor into a promoter, who might score you a 6 or below, but then later on give you that 9 or a 10. These folks have a great story to share. Hey, I had some trouble at the beginning of my case, but the firm stepped in. The firm helped me through this, and I'm feeling like I'm well represented as a result. We highly recommend reaching out to those folks who show that they're converted and see if they're interested in sharing that experience, maybe through a Google review. Likewise, we do have the inverse of this, people who might have formerly been in a good spot, but who have fallen off a little bit. That detractor set up, but maybe they were happy before. These are folks who maybe something's happened between the beginning of their case and where they're at currently. Maybe it was a not so great interaction with the firm, or again, maybe it's just something going on in their lives that they had a bad day. Checking in, seeing how they're feeling, understanding that sentiment can help you understand if this is something that you can overcome. So often I hear as a trainer at Case Status, all it takes is a quick phone call to understand why somebody's not really feeling that great about where they're at in their case. And sometimes in that quick phone call, you're able to overcome that obstacle. So you do have an opportunity here to see, oh, Sim here was doing fine, maybe not anymore. Should probably spend a little bit of time to check in.
I want to pause for a moment because we did get a really great question. The question is, we get users that give a 1, thinking it is a high score, and they leave a nice comment. Can we manually change those NPS scores?
What a great question. I like this a lot. And it's unfortunate that I have to answer this way, because the answer is you're really not supposed to remove those scores from the overall scoring metric, because if you start cherry picking for any reason, then the metric becomes less helpful for you overall. However, this is also where even just a quick note, maybe back in your case management system or even inside of Case Status, that just says, hey, we saw that you scored us on a 1. We wanted to check in and you said you were fine. That's great. And you can carry on. This is also precisely why we recommend against utilizing Net Promoter Score as the only means for employee performance, because the client could very easily just say, oh, I made a mistake. So we certainly appreciate the question, and we absolutely appreciate that, hey, it's the human condition, right? People are going to do what they do. They might not understand what they're doing. That's okay. We do ask that you maintain the score, and the next time that they come through, maybe they'll give you that 10 at that point. We do have some firms as well that at the beginning of a case, we can add a delayed message automation in after the first couple days and explain what the Net Promoter Score survey is. Maybe not at the level of detail that we're going into today, but just saying, hey, when you get that score, don't forget, 10 is good, 1 is bad, and we appreciate your feedback. And that can really help overcome that obstacle as well.
Nice.
Angelina, anything else? Any other good questions? Again, loving the questions here from the group today.
No, that is it so far.
All right. So team, again, I think this is where we are going to wrap this up. Angelina, am I missing anything else? I think this is what we wanted to cover.
Yeah, I do. I'm going to throw out one more poll. If you saw Advanced Analytics and you liked it and you're not seeing it on your account right now, feel free to vote. If you are interested in subscribing, we can get your account executive or someone to reach out, of course. You can just vote there when you get a moment. We did want to, of course, mention our client or CX Summit. It is going to be September 24th to September 26th in beautiful Charleston, South Carolina. It is going to be focusing on all things client experience. We are collaborating with many, many different size firms, different types of firms, really getting into all things AI and how we can use that to our advantage. Feel free to reach out to me or Kyle or anyone at Case Status if you are interested in signing up. We have a lot of good deals and discount codes.
All right, team. Well, we always appreciate it to have folks live in the room with us as we record these sessions. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much for your time today. Watch out for Case Status University. That is coming soon, where we'll have these videos and a whole lot more coming down the pipeline for you. Again, here, team, we can hang on for a few more minutes if you do have any questions, but this is the end of our official time. So if you're all set, we are too. Thanks again for your time, everybody. Have a great day.
Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.
Thanks, Patrice. Just saw you there. Appreciate it, everybody.